Welcome to Channel AMEC, your insight to the Australian visa system. Good day everyone, my name is Carl Young, your online YouTube visa consultant. Are you interested about migrating to Australia? Why don't you consider to subscribe to my channel and turn on a little bell on side, so once we have all the updates and news, you'll be the first one on getting all the insight. Now today's video, we are bringing you some rumors, no, not really rumors, some news media coming from both social media and also the actual media publication out there. Obviously, what's about? It's about what we gotta foresee and expect the policy of immigration, how it will actually be formed. Now remember, before the new financial year comes, I did have a prediction that how the government of Australia could actually solve the problem that the former government have created within the visa and immigration system itself. Well, the answer from my side is obviously to increase its annual intake quota. Remember? Now, it's really possible to be happening. So I'm gonna take you in some of those snapshots and also some of the industry expert how they view about this. Now, first of all, you may want to get to follow the Minister of Immigration Andrew Giles Facebook, because not long ago, a couple of hours ago, he basically screenshot this. Now, although this news has nothing to do with immigration straight away, but the Treasury, means the Treasurer of Australia, is actually trying to reconfigure the lot of money allocating to different department of the actual Australian governments. It's actually very important. So they're talking about the economic impact of climate changes, but they also have the impact. Remember, the former government, they found out they have cut a couple hundred millions the required expenses from distributed to immigration to be cut. So obviously, without these funds to the Department of Home Affairs and Immigration, the backlog and the delay will obviously continue, because the money is required to have more human resource, more staffs, more officers to help out in assessing all the visa applications. So the actual budget, although it was set by the former government, but looks like the treasurer, the current treasurer, Dr. Jim Chalmers, is looking with the assistance of the federal government to clear all that out. So the actual news is actually this one here. So here we go. It's from Sydney Morning Herald. Treasury to model economic impact of climate changes after 9-year break. Now, what does that mean? Well, obviously, 9 years is what the former government has actually been there, the Liberal Party. So they're basically saying there was a lot of massive craziness that the former government had perhaps not paying enough attention to. I don't want to go too much into politics, but this is what the current government, the Labour government, is actually accusing the former government of. So there's a lot of things to be examined, to be under the analysis. So this is the current treasurer, Jim Chalmers. Now, obviously, this has nothing to do with immigration, but adjusting the budget is one of the key things. Now, before we actually got into the new government, we know that they are set to have a new budget to be announced by October. Well, that's gonna be 3 months away. Can the actual immigration system wait for another 3 months? Well, yeah, they can. They can just put everything on hold for another 3 months. But I don't think that's gonna be the likeliness of how that would go. Because so what do we do with these 3 months? Do we just hold every single permanent resident application and put them on hold? I don't think that's gonna be the likely case, because if they do that, that's gonna be a lot of challenges coming up as well. So, but I don't know personally. I don't know. I don't have that internal insight yet, but what I am looking forward and predicting how that will go, perhaps that will be a likelihood that things can turn before October 2022. But I did receive a little information from the state government and territory governments saying that it's potentially the new quota and the criteria will be released by end of July. So they are taking the whole month, perhaps for another 2 weeks, to actually go through a lot of these executive and administrative work within the government itself, because they gotta get everything clear so the fund can be released, so the annual intake quota can be increased as well. Now there's a lot more news on this one. This is about a day or two ago. Now this is actually from Financial Review. It requires subscriptions. Don't really like that. As you can see, it required me to get subscribed. But anyway, the main thing here, I wanted to take you into a little bit of the content here. It says Chalmers is Dr. Jim Chalmers is the treasurer. Now it's very important, because if the budget is not open for immigration, the Minister of Immigration, Andrew Giles, cannot really do much. Only if the budget is released and with more fund, then obviously a lot of other things can be done. Now bear in mind, the Prime Minister and the Labour government has said publicly there will be a prioritizing all the backlog and get all that clear. So that means a lot of fund is required to be adjusted and allocated from the Treasury, and obviously assigned by the treasurer to be released to the immigration. So the Chalmers opened the migration fix for acute labor shortage, and this news was about a day or two ago, so 5th of July, but it came out at 5 p.m. It was late of that date, and basically said Treasurer Jim Chalmers says labor could ease. Here we go, the very important term here, ease to the caps. What does that mean? Caps. We were capped. The former government had capped the migration intake at 160,000. Remember? If they would ease the migration caps, what does that mean? Obviously, that's going to be more than 160,000. And that is exactly what I had predicted. Now, whether or not it's going to be released by this month or perhaps in October, and how that they can transit from what the former government and the budget had actually be allocated by the former government into this new government with a lot of these changes, I don't know how they're going to work, but I think that they have the intention to moving forward towards that goal. And I'm very welcome with this message to bring more foreign workers into Australia, part of this plan to fill the acute labor shortage across the economy, highlighting training of childcare spending boost of women, workforce participation. Dr. Chalmers also left open possibility to bring more overseas worker to fill immediate vacancy, join Skilled Minister Brendan O'Connor and the Home Affairs Minister Claire O'Neill. Now, I don't have the full detail down underneath, but what I can tell you is obviously there is a goal has been set and require the treasurer to actually get that fund released, allocated, so they're gonna probably not destroy, but do a huge major amendments from what the former treasurer had actually done from the former government, and then open up for more fund into immigration sector. Now, last but not least, now you may want to subscribe to the Independent in Australia. This is very good news media, as it focuses mainly on immigration. So, but I'll digest these for you as well. So this came out 2 days ago as well, 5th of July. Skilled independent visa category set to rapid growth. Now, how did Abu Rizvi? Now, Abu Rizvi is a senior, used to be a senior immigration officer, and obviously not in the department anymore. But he provides a lot of insight here. So how does he know skill independent visa category is set to a rapid growth? Obviously, there will be some news or media or insight understanding that the quota it has been risen. Now, despite the former government has said there will be additional 30,000 places adjusted from other side of the category of visa towards the skill independent or skill migration. But again, that's not really solving the issue. Well, what about the parent visa? What about the partner visa? What about the GTI? What about the business innovation? They are not increased. They're actually being decreased. And does that really solve into meeting the challenges of 2022 with all the inflation, interest rate hikes, and all that kind of thing? So we'll see. Okay. So after years of driving down available independent. So obviously 189, you probably haven't really heard anyone got this visa much in the past 2 years, but looks like they are boosting this up because the figure, as you can see right here, went right down to the bottom and looking to actually turn in 2022 and 23, and that is the key here. So the Abu Rizvi is really not a keen viewer, or should I say commentator of Peter Dutton. So in late 2018, I know exactly what happened there. After Dutton made his cut, Morrison supported the cut. Made a lot of that's how they screwed up the whole visa system. If you wanted to go back to a couple of videos ago, I've done an actual video talking about this one. A month later, former Treasurer Josh Frydenberg issued 2019 budget. The back is black budget. So anyway, they were looking into including highest level of sustained net migration in the history of 268,000 per annum, but that was just talks, isn't it? That was just talks until Scott Morrison actually lost the election. He was still setting the migration net income to be 160,000. That's 100,000 less than what we just saw and been planted by the former treasurer. So isn't that a joke, or isn't that a lie? Perhaps. Anyway, that's all the past anymore. They are still again partner visa backlog, and or even citizenship application backlog is still going on at this point in time. So the Abu Rizvi is looking forward that the skill migration obviously will be one of the highlights for this new government. So if the government cannot find enough additional successful applicant in other parts of the skill stream, it will be focused on increasing skill independent category even further. And the key is the issue in the EOI and who can score 65. Now, currently, if you understand the category at the moment, you're required to get 80, 90, or 100 points, which is actually very, very hard. Without a state government's nomination, it's seemingly impossible to actually get skill independent and migrate to Australia. So they are looking perhaps into a big change here. So in 2022 and 23, invitation likely to be around 2,000 to 4,000 per quarter. So that will mean about, what's this, 8,000 to 16,000 per year, unless employment sponsored migration significantly reform. Now, why did they say that? Remember, if you have followed my channel long enough, I've criticized how the employment sponsored visa category has been. You gotta put on 3 job ads. You gotta contribute to the employer. Gotta contribute to the Australian Skilling Fund. All these complications will actually stop in making the visa application so slow. That was the problem. So it really requires some sort of major reform there. So again, visa backlog, that's all the news. That's not a news anymore. So what I wanted to share with you today in this video, obviously, is there is already a sign coming from the current government, where the Minister of Immigration has actually screenshot a media publication and put a poster on his Facebook. And obviously, what does that mean? Why is the Minister of Immigration posting the treasurer's media articles on Facebook? I think that there's a sign that the treasurer in the Treasury of Australia is required to be amended in way to meet the challenges that we are facing in 2022. And what is that challenge? Obviously, the backlog and the delay and the assistance of the economy requires a lot of migrants, skilled migrants especially, to be in Australia. So how will that go? Make sure you subscribe to my channel, so once we have all that updates and news, you'll be the first one getting all that insight. I see you next video. Goodbye.